Something just happened. My thing was tripping on me. Let me see. As soon as I get ready to say something, hold on, let me make sure I'm on. God dog. Okay, say I'm on live. Alright. Hold up real quick, y'all. Almost had some technical difficulties for some reason. Let me see. Let me make sure I'm looking on my phone. Let me make sure we good. I bet we good, we good, we good. I'm like, what the heck going on with this? But anywho, man, fought through it, man. Let's go ahead and give a proper round of applause, man. We up in here, man. We just completed the linebackers, man. Well, at least not completed, because there's a whole bunch, but we did. I did 11 of them, because one of them was incomplete. Actually, probably the 11th one was too, because I really couldn't see too much film on him. But nonetheless, man, I attempted to do 11 of them. And looking at these linebackers, right, there's some good ones. Is there anyone that I would look, from what I observed from this draft class, even though I personally probably wouldn't take the linebackers till day 2 unless it was Trenton Simpson, maybe a linebacker such as Dayon Henley can creep to the first round. Jack Campbell, that's a second round pick. There's a couple linebackers, yeah, that could probably creep into the first round. But a lot of, from what I've seen, not saying that they won't be good players, but a lot of them that I've seen are day 2 beginning with the linebackers, right? And I enjoy looking at some of the linebackers, right? There's definitely some good ones. And as I said in my DN film session, man, it's just like a lot of these players, man, are not technically sound. And it's a breath of fresh air when you see a player, man, that actually has some decent technique. Now, we all know that, they coming from college, man. So, they're going to be, a lot of them going to be refined in the pros. But you could tell, man, but man, I just remember doing this in the past, man. I seen a lot more players who were more technically sound. So, you get a lot of players just pretty much relying on their physical attributes, man, to make plays. And although, I mean, that's cool, but in order to have longevity and to be good, you got to go ahead, man, and be technically sound. See, when you go to the NFL, there's going to be a whole bunch of players who are physically elite. But what separates is that hard work, dedication, and that technique, man. So, without further ado, man, let's get into this thing, man. Right? First, we're going to talk about old Mr. Trenton Simpson from Clemson, 6'2", 235. Now, when I look at somebody like Trenton Simpson, what I get is a stronger Isaiah Simmons. Somebody like, I wouldn't call Micah, but you see, what I've seen with these linebackers is a lot of positionless players. But there's some that, even though they may have been positionless and it was all over the place in college, there's some that when they transition to the NFL, that they should just be just that. But a player like Trenton Simpson is a positionless player. You can have him come forward. You can probably play him as safety, backer, right? At 6'2", 35, right? See, Isaiah Simmons may be faster, but Trenton Simpson is definitely stronger. And like I said, I see him line up all over the place. Come forward, go backwards, rush, linebacker, safety. I've seen him all over the place. One thing about Trenton Simpson is he's an athlete that definitely comes with a pop, right? You know, I love his close-in speed, right? I love his pursuit when it comes to getting after it, right? And I go ahead and use this terminology because I hear a lot of draft experts talk about. They say he's a freak of nature, an athletic freak, and that's exactly what Trenton Simpson is. He could cover a whole lot of ground in coverage. I think, and just giving Trenton Simpson a position in the next level, I think you will be doing him a disservice. I think he's a chessboard piece that can go ahead and make your defense better in whatever you may be weak at. If you're missing a safety, well, you can package him as safety. You need a linebacker. See, he's one of the ones, man, where he can come forward, man, and he's aggressive enough to go ahead and come forward, but he's athletic enough to go ahead, man, and carry a tight end, carry a running back out the equation, right? He could do multiple things to help your defense, man. It's kind of like the Isaiah Simmons. See, you got to know how to use. If you're gonna draft somebody like Trenton Simpson, you got to know how to use a player like Trenton Simpson. And looking at some of the players that may be positionless, I've seen a lot of these teams fumble the bag when it comes down to using a player, man, that is a jack of all trades, man. He's a master of none, but a man of many things, right? And, one thing with Trenton Simpson is that I did see on is that he needs to work on shedding blocks and stacking blocks better in the interior. His play recognition, his eyes, it's okay, right? It definitely can be better, right? He scrapes well. And as I mentioned before, man, he can pretty much do something of everything. He can do something of everything. And Trenton Simpson, his talent is first-round pick material. And if you can use him in a correct way, I believe you'll get a very good player from Trenton Simpson, right? On to the next one. I see a lot of people, man. So this next player that we're going to talk about, the hype on him was big. Some people say that they struggle to find a position for him. Well, looking at this man ball, man, after the second game that I watched, I knew a position he was at the next level. It was pretty easy for me. And the man that we are talking about today is none other than Drew Sanders from Arkansas, 6'4", 235. See, one thing in Drew Sanders that I seen was, kind of like a Micah Parsons type of thing, right? He was using a Micah Parsons way, right? He would rush, and he would also play traditional linebacker, right? And definitely, I like his rush ability, right? And I seen a game where he played more traditional linebacker, and it was against Alabama, and he actually had a good traditional linebacker game against Alabama. So therefore, off of just watching that game alone and just watching him rush the passer in general, that I can see why teams will be confused and where he should play. But I'm gonna tell you like this, man. Judging by what he does best, 3-4 linebacker, 3-4 rush linebacker is what Drew Sanders is, and you will be giving him a disservice by putting him as a traditional linebacker and a traditional linebacker only. You need to go ahead, man. And if I had it, I wouldn't say him, but like I would say you should TJ Watt him, right? That'll give you a good little TJ Watt him. I'm not saying he's gonna be TJ Watt, but you should be using him like TJ Watt, right? Because one thing I've seen, right, one thing he does need to work on is his play recognition, right? I mean, if you was going to use him as a traditional linebacker, it definitely would be an outside linebacker. But that should only be a sometimes type of thing. If you want a Micah Parsons him, I believe so. I believe that would work. But if you want to get the most out of him, he's a better rusher than traditional linebacker, and I believe that you can get a sack guy out of Drew Sanders consistently. I believe, and that's very good. One thing I've seen that he did have a good tackling radius, right? And if he is going to play traditional linebacker, he does need to shed blocks better, right? He definitely needs to work on his run fits. Good pursuit, good athleticism, and he also has the ability to be able to scrape. But I like the way that he captures the edge. And if he bulks up, add him another 5-10 pounds, I believe you'll be able to get something good out of him at that 3-4 rush linebacker, man. So I'm letting you know now, Drew Sanders is a 3-4 rush linebacker. Right? Now, I mean, if you want to go ahead and 4-3 him and outside backer and rush him the majority of the time like Michael Parsons, then you could do that. But I think to get the most out of him is 34 linebacker from my evaluation. The next linebacker that I looked at was Noah Sewell from Oregon, 6'1", 246. Look, his play recognition is trash. Let's just be candid. His play, especially against Washington State, that play recognition was trash. It was trash, right? One thing I do like about him is that when he does blitz, he gets home, right? But looking at him and looking at the tape, he doesn't stand out to me, right? Even though he got good size, I would love him to improve his ability to shed blocks, right? You know, he's not the most athletic and he's not the best in space. You know, I've seen him make a couple open field tackles though in the UCLA game, right? But to me, they say he a running hit linebacker, but I would use him as a backup Mike linebacker and a special teams player, right? And I think that to probably get the best out of him, you should put him in box situations, right? He does get some passing lanes and deflects passes, right? And to me, there's somebody I've seen a report that says he doesn't really move well for his size. Well, for 6'1", 246, I believe he moves kind of well for his size. I'm not gonna hold that against him, right? But if you want him, but in the game in the NFL, man, where tackling in space is necessary for your linebackers, I believe he will struggle heavily with that, right? He doesn't make plays consistently in space, right? You know, but he does. But one thing I do that when he does come forward, he does try to come like a little missile. But he ain't gonna really shed nothing though. But overall, I'm not really impressed with Noah Sewell. I just don't think he's that guy. Backup linebacker, special teams type of player. Get some value like that. Other than that, you don't really see too much for him. Mr. Jack Campbell from Iowa, 6'5", 249. I like Jack Campbell, man. Now, if you want to talk about traditional blue-collar linebacker, Jack Campbell is your guy, right? Good size, right? Traditional linebacker, tackling machine, right? They say he's something wrong with his athleticism, but to me, I think he's a good enough athlete. He's an above-average athlete, right? Has good pursuit. I love his play recognition. He got good play recognitions, right? And his eyes, right? It's kind of like the Sean Lee factor. His eyes will make up for him not being a super athlete. So if you see it quick and you act quick, you know, that'll be able to make up. So if you see ball go get ball and you see it quick, then you'll be able to react faster. Therefore, to make you look faster than what you really are. And I believe that that'll be Jack Campbell at the next level. He takes on blockers with a pop, right? You know, Jack Campbell to me is a Mike linebacker for sure, right? I love the way that you know, when it comes down to a fullback, taking on a running back, man, and meeting him head on in the passing situations, he stones the running backs, man, right? Let me see. And an example of what I just said is the Michigan game. He got, when it comes down to blitzes, on a delayed blitzes, he has good disguise, right? He scrapes very well. He stays square. He scrapes well, man. I liked it. And in coverage, man, he gets good enough depth in his coverage. He's good enough in coverage, man. You're right. He may struggle a little bit, maybe guarding a little bit of one-on-one, maybe, but other than that, you could scheme for that, right? He doesn't have no burst, right? That as we were talking about that athlete, which may limit him in certain situations, though. But like I said, man, when you see ball, go get ball, man. If Luke Kuechly can go ahead, man, and you can kind of say he can Luke Kuechly type some type of things, right? But one thing I like about him is he a tough dude. He takes good angles, right? I even see him get a pick in that Michigan game, man. I like Jack Campbell, man. That's one of my favorite linebackers of watching in this draft class, man, because he just, when it comes down to traditional and hard work and blue collar linebacker, that old school linebacker, Jack Campbell is definitely that, man. And Jack Campbell will contribute and make better and make tougher teams, especially my Dallas Cowboys, man. He will definitely bring a certain amount of toughness in that run game that a team would need for Jack Campbell. Deion Henley, man. Washington State, 6'1", 225, man. And then looking at the Washington State linebackers, I see that they rely heavily on them linebackers making plays in the passing game, in the running game. There's a lot of responsibility on their linebackers, right? And one thing about Deion Henley is that he's a very energetic linebacker, right? He's a good athlete, very good athlete, right? You can use him as a QB spy. His closing speed, I love. Deion is more of a run and hit type of linebacker, right? You need to keep him free to get the most out of him, right? He definitely needs to get stronger, right? Because he definitely struggles on taking on blocks. But one thing I did see that he did well was slipping blocks, right? Because every linebacker, even though you should be able to take on blocks, you should have some type of finesse in your game, right? And one thing that I see with Deion Henley is that he has some finesse in his game, and I like it, right? See, when he comes on blitzes, he's a missile. Love it, right? In coverage, he can carry. Love that about him too, right? Deion Henley is your modern-day linebacker, right? He's a rangy linebacker. But one thing about Deion is because he moves and he goes 0 to 100 real quick, sometimes he overruns his angles, right? He needs to definitely do a better job at his angles, right? And one thing that I've seen is he needs better play recognition. He needs better eyes, right? Needs that film room. But the physical traits is definitely there, and the physical traits can definitely go ahead and make him into a heck of a linebacker, right? That's why I said earlier that, that he can go ahead and very well be a first-round pick, and you couldn't get mad at it, right? Because he definitely scrapes well, and if they develop, he go ahead and hit the weight room. So you might put about a good five, at the most 10 pounds on him. But I say 5 to 7 pounds, man, some nice little muscle, man. Man, you might definitely got you a nice little linebacker because he already 6'1". So you 6'1", 230, man, that'll be good for him. And having him move and run and hit the way that that might be a good one. If I'm the Cowboys, I'm definitely consider a linebacker like Deion Henley, man. Because one thing's for sure, you want speed, but you definitely need somebody that's going to come and hit, man. And if you got big boys, man, that we expect to get, man, that's going to go ahead and keep these linebackers free, man, you want somebody that can come in like a missile and make plays, man, and that's Deion Henley. I even take somebody such as Jack Campbell because one thing for sure, you do need a Mike linebacker because the only one that I really can say is that, that I can count on for the future is Damone Clark. What is Damone Clark? Is he a Mike? Is he a Will? What we gonna do with him, right? That's the thing, right? Can Damone play Mike? Yeah, he got the body type to play Mike, right? And having Damone and somebody like Deion Henley or Damone and Jack Campbell, man, you be vicious, right? Because one thing you need is speed. Speed. But my speed got to be able to come up and meet him in the hole, and he got to be able to go ahead, man, and chase him down. Deion Henley, yes. Also, the next we got, man, is DeMarvion Overshown from Texas, 6'3", 229. I like him as well. He's a hitter. One thing for sure that you see with DeMarvion is he come up with bring that boom, man, right? DeMarvion, man, I see it. He passionate about football. You know, I love the way his eyes and his ability to go ahead and read, man, and be able to adjust in coverage, man. He can come on blitzes, man. Um, he's a former safety, and that helps him tremendously in coverage, man. So bringing his safety instincts to linebacker, man, that's a plus, right? And you already got good size, 6'3", 229. I think his frame, be honest with you, I think he can handle 245, 250 on his frame, to be honest with you, though. But would he get there? Probably not. I can see 240s on him, though, but I think he can handle it, though, right? And I'm pretty sure they would wanted to keep him lean, though. But at 6'3", he can handle a little bit more weight, though. Right, but he is good in run support, right? Good pursuit, good awareness for the routes, as mentioned before, right? And he just pretty much learning the position, adjusting to the physicality of the linebacker position, right? But one thing that he gonna need is the weight room, as mentioned, in coaching, right? And I think once he get that incorporated in this game, he gonna be a bad boy. He gonna be a real. I like DeMarvion Overshown, man. I definitely. And he a Texas cat. See, hey, that's somebody that you got to get day 2. You got to get him day 2, right? But overall, he needs to improve in taking on blocks, escaping them, right? And he is sideline to sideline, right? And one thing I did see, even though he's a violent hitter, man, he needs to learn how to wrap better, because he'll come in and give you a shoulder. But hey, if you bounce off, man, he keep going. So he definitely gonna go ahead, man. That's where them 10 pounds will come in, for his ability to go ahead, man, and wrap. Because you gotta go hit Derrick Henry, right? You gotta hit some of these big running backs that's coming out. Right, so these running backs, man, is fast, man, and they 210, 220 now, man. So you got to be able to bring the boom. These running backs coming with the same size as you, so you definitely gonna have to bring the boom, right? And DeMarvion definitely doesn't have a problem going in and hitting, but he definitely at times have a problem with rapping. So you gonna have to fix that. DeMarvion Overshown. Henry Tutu, man, I can't pronounce. I'm butchering his name, y'all. I'm most likely I am. Sacktown native, Alabama, 6'1", 227. Henry is a will linebacker in the NFL, right? Even though he's 6'1", 227, he ain't the most athletic for his size, y'all, right? He did make some good open field tackles against Georgia in the year 2021. He has good technique, right? He's technical. He scrapes well, right? But definitely has issues shedding blocks, right? He definitely needs to be free. He lacks that short area quickness and a burst that somebody his size should definitely have. He lacks that, right? And that's going to hold him back, regardless if he's technical or not. To me, Henry is just a special teams linebacker, right? I've seen him get body in the red zone by bigger tight ends such as Washington. But, I mean, Washington, he's a tall linebacker to deal with. So, I mean, that can go ahead and bring you trouble, though. But, you know, he's definitely – but like I said, these tight ends is coming out 6'5", 6'6". So if he's getting bodied by tight ends such as that, then what makes you think that, you know, Michael Meyer, Kincaid, right, Musgrave wouldn't body you, right? And you got other tight ends, man, who go ahead and box you out and do the same thing. So he definitely will have trouble, and I definitely will want to isolate my tight end on him, especially in the red zone, right? But he competes, though, in coverage. It ain't like he's just a bum, though, but he definitely competes. But all in all, he's a backup linebacker and a special teams type of player, though, man, right? But just somebody that you could probably rely on that may be able to fill in for a game or two, man, but I definitely wouldn't have him as a starter by just his physical traits alone. If he was more athletic, we might be talking about him being higher and being starter quality, though. But just off his lack of burst and the lack of short area quickness, I don't really see too much, right? You would have to prove me wrong on this one, right? I remember watching Christian Kirksey. So he gave me Christian Kirksey vibes with Henry, though. He gives me Christian Kirksey vibes. This is a special teams type of player, man. Jay Bird. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I was working yesterday, knocking them out, and I already started on the corner, so we should be done with the corners pretty soon as well. Trying to hurry up and get it because I know that draft coming. Real soon. But the next one that we did was Dorian Williams from Tulane, 6'1", 228. Now, I didn't watch his partner, man, Anderson, though, but it seemed like his partner, Anderson, was always getting his name called instead of him, I mean, because I'm watching, my attention is on Dorian, but I'm hearing the other linebacker who I heard was coming out as well, his name being called, which kind of grabbed my attention. But Dorian Williams is no bum, though. He ain't a bum, right? But it just the other one was kind of capturing my attention just a little bit more, right? But Dorian, he's a Mike linebacker, right? They said he ran a 4.5 at the combine, but I'll be honest with you, I didn't get 4.5 play speed from him, right? I got more of a tackle-to-tackle type of linebacker, right? But I did see that he did get in a lot of passing lanes for deflections, which was good, right? He had the awareness to do that. He's more of a down here player, though, right? He does come with some mean intentions. He is a thumper, right? That's one thing that I do like about him, man. You might be able to develop because, one thing that I seen, what was it? I think it was at the Senior Bowl. Was it the Senior Bowl? I seen him. Let me see. Oh, look, give me a second. Did I write that in my notes? I believe I did. Is he the one I seen in the Senior Bowl? Yeah, I did. I seen him in the Senior Bowl carrying running backs, and he looked kind of smooth in doing so, right? So maybe he improved on coverage, right? Because you can improve on coverage as a linebacker, and maybe he improved. Because I didn't really see too much in the games that I watched in him in coverage. It was more of him, kind of attacking downhill, which he's, like I said, is a thumper, right? And he got shock in his hand to attack the blockers. But one thing that I want to see him improve on is when the blockers come in his area on that second level to be able to shed better, right? And I always say, if you're coming out in your big games, you thrive. And one thing he did have against USC was 17 tackles. And he did make his presence be known. And USC got a lot of speed, right? And so he's dealing with some NFL type players, man, and he showed up, right? And he dealing with a Lincoln Riley, man, that go ahead, man, and call plays like a mug, and he went on ahead and balled out. So that's a good sign, man. And that's a day 3 linebacker, though, but you might be able to develop him into a quality starter, right? Because a lot of these linebackers, man, that you get in a second and third day, man, can develop to be some quality starters, right? But I just would love him to see, but especially for him being at Mike, I just want to see him shed better, right? That's all I want to see. And I want to see him add some finesse to his game, slipping blocks, man. Instead of just always take, sometimes I want you to go ahead and finesse your way around them blockers, man. And I want to see him add that to the equation, man, right? But other than that, man, I did see starter potential in him, and I think if you get it with the right team and some right coaches, man, you might be able to get, like I said, you can get a starter out of him. You can get a starter out of him. Mm-hmm. Facts, Jay Bird. Facts. So I looked at I didn't get to look at much because I was trying to search for the film. I couldn't really get too much. But I had a couple questions, though, and it was on Mike Jones from LSU, 6'1", 230, right? Clemson transfer. But I didn't get to really see too much from him, right? And I had a couple questions. I wanted to know, why were you sharing time? Why was you just a rotational linebacker? And I had an incomplete because I couldn't really see too much, though. But one thing I did see is that, he had some decent eyes, but his burst was missing. That's all I can give you from him right now. I would have to search more tape, though, because when I find him and I'll try to look for him in other certain games, and I couldn't find his numbers. I'm like, is he playing? What's going on? So he was probably playing sporadically in other games. But the game that I did, I can't remember the game that I did watch, though. But he wasn't the worst thing. He'll probably give you some special teams value. Right, camp body. I'll never ever like rule a person out altogether, though. But I didn't see that guy from him, right? And if you ain't, you know what I mean? And I ain't gonna say that just because of college, man, it took you for granted. You might be a better pro. Who knows, right? But to me, I didn't see that guy potential in the game. I did see. But the next one that I did watch was Owen Papo from Auburn, 6', 225. Now they said that he tested well in the combine, right? And so there was questions. Was it just all hype? Is he a baller or is it just combine hype? Well, I'm here to tell you that it wasn't combine hype. He can definitely develop to be a good linebacker, right? Some say he will, just a will, but I think he can play both, right? Once in the weight room, right? Because one thing I've seen with Owen is that he come downhill. You an SEC linebacker, so you definitely got to have some type of toughness going against Alabama, LSU, and company, man. You got to have some type of toughness, man, because the SEC is pretty much the class of college football, man. Georgia, back-to-back champs, man. That's the class, man. You know, you got to be ready, right? But I did see starter potential. I seen somebody that can get sideline to sideline. He had good short area quickness and burst. He definitely, what they said he ran? Did he say he ran a 4.3, 4.4? But yes, when you watch him go sideline to sideline, you can see that he ran a good 40 in that one, right? Even though I don't take too much stock into the scouting combine in general, it definitely ain't no fraud. It definitely backs up the film, right? But one thing I did want to see him do better was stack and shed consistently, right? His eyes are kind of slow. His play recognition is kind of slow, so he definitely, but that could be fixed, right? With film room, man, and just coaching, man, and just working with him, right? Because you just didn't develop eyes overnight. You had to be, you had the repetition is you had to do the film work, right? You had to do the physical work, right? You had to put in that work to get to where you at, right? That's just hours of film work. So he's gonna have to definitely improve on that in the next level, right? But if you want to put him at will linebacker, which you could if you wanted him to start first, and you keep him clean, he could be productive for you, right? But all in all, the physical traits as far as being the modern day linebacker is there for Owen Papo, right? And you definitely, man, day 3, man. If a team need a linebacker, man, he definitely worth a shot, right? I definitely will roll with Owen. And the last one that I observed was Ivan Ivan. It's either Ivan or Ivan Pace from Cincy, 5'10", 231. I like him. His knock is he's just not tall. He's not long, right? Yeah. Who your favorite, Bird? But he's short, but not small. He got a nose for the football. I enjoyed watching the little tape that I was able to get from him. I didn't get to complete him, but the tape that I was able to watch, I enjoyed it, man. That's a Mike linebacker for sure, right? The downhill linebacker. Hey, man, he was making plays. Every time I watch him play, man, he making plays, man. He's physical at the point of attack, right? He gets home on the blitzes, right? And I'm like this, man. If you're looking at his height, his physical limitations, you're gonna miss out on a good linebacker because I think he could be a productive linebacker in the NFL. To be honest with you, right? Because he comes with physical intentions. They say that he got athletic limitations, right? And yeah, he's not super athletic though. But one thing that I see that he's straight well and he's tough and strong, and he does have the ability to go ahead and go sideline to sideline. And that goes with, hey, if you got good eyes, that'll go ahead and make up for you being a half step slow physically, but you can make up for that half step with your eyes, right? Because like I said, man, if you Sean Lee, like I said, Sean Lee wasn't the most athletic player though, but Sean Lee had them eyes. And that's why Sean Lee was in there like swimwear because of his eyes, right? But he got good lower body strength, though, good contact balance, right? Man, they think just because he come with physical intentions that he ain't got no finesse to his game. I definitely see him slip a lot of blocks too. I definitely seen a finesse to his game, right? And his lack of length will make it harder to kind of go ahead and extend and shed blocks some. I'm not going to deny that, but that doesn't mean he's been like that his whole life, so that don't mean that he don't know how to do it. So right, just because you may have physical limitations don't mean that you're a baller. There's a limitation in every player. It's physical. They say that Aaron Donald was too small. They said there's times, man, where Aaron Donald was 250 pounds when it came down to his weight, and he still was balling. So at the end of the day, can you play football? Is my question. I don't care about what 40 you ran, your cone drill. Can you play football? And from what I observed from Pace, he can definitely play football, right? He may struggle a little bit in man coverage, but like I said, you can scheme with that, right? But one thing I did see in his drops that he was very fine in it, right? So I see somebody. See, they always talk about the tape. The tape don't lie, right? Well, if we're looking at the tape won't lie. Go ahead and use this play, man. You could get a starter from him. I think he could play football. From what I've seen, I think this man can play football. And I think, fourth, fifth round, because I'm pretty sure he's going to drop because of his height. Fourth, fifth round, you can get you a starter quality linebacker. That's all I'm saying, man. I don't care about how short you are. Cool. You compact to the ground. That's cool. Right? I don't care about my linebacker being 6'2", 6'3". I don't care about that. Can you play football? What was Dexter Coakley? What was Sean Lee? Size wasn't a factor in the equation in him. So why would it be with him? In this game, where it's soft. The linemen ain't like how they were back in the day with the physicality, right? Everybody want to be athletic and stuff, and everybody want to run this zone scheme. You trying to tell me that he ain't going to blow stuff up? I believe he will. Are you like Trent Simpson? Yeah, that's the best one. My favorite, it's out of Jack Campbell and Overshown so far. I like Jack Campbell because he's traditional. That blue-collar linebacker, that old-school linebacker. And Overshown because I just see so much potential, because he already got decent, even though he's 6'3", 230, and he got the frame to fill out. He bringing them safety instincts to the linebacker position and coverage, man. And he's already a hitter. Man, you might be able to get you a nice little linebacker with Overshown, man. But all in all, like I said, man, let's transition this to the Cowboys real quick, right? The Cowboys need something of every position. This is facts. Whether it be contract situations, the future, debt, right? Like I said, Leighton is on a 1 year, right? This probably be his last year. You got Kirsch playing some. He get ready to be up. Michael Parsons is not a full-time linebacker. Cox hasn't panned out. And then you got the Oklahoma State linebacker, man, who's a mystery, right? Is he special teams? Is he starter quality? Is he a Mike? The only one that you can say for sure that should be pretty solid and give you something that you can know of is Damone Clark. So that tells me that even though I may have depth and can go ahead and get through linebacker this year, I definitely need a linebacker. Oh, man. Yeah. And the cool thing about it is, because I was thinking like this, as I was mentioning earlier, like Simpson is a positionless player. You would be doing him a disservice by just putting him at linebacker, right? It's kind of like Michael Parsons, man. You can pretty much play him everywhere. Simpson, you could probably play him at safety. You could rush him. You can play him at linebacker. Shit, you might be able to play him at corner. He's like I said, he's a stronger Isaiah Simmons. He's just one of them guys, man, that just, hey, if we talking about matchups in football, then having a player like Simpson is definitely somebody that you should go ahead and consider bringing to the team. He's definitely somebody that you should consider bringing to the team. If I'm looking for as many athletic bodies on the field as possible, without having a sub, can I go ahead and be in the base defense? But if I go ahead and for some reason I need to be able to cover, do I got guys that can do it all? And that's why I like Simpson so much, and that's why he's a first-round pick, right? And who knows? He may be there. Who knows? I don't know. Right? Because I'm pretty sure. I haven't really seen what too much. I seen people like him because of his physicality, though. But from a couple I've seen is that they a mystery. Like, where do I play him at? Well, Simpson can't go to anybody. He got to go. He got to go to somebody who know how to use him. And I believe with Dan Quinn having experience with Micah Parsons and knowing who his personnel is, he should be able to use somebody like Simpson, right? It's like having Simpson is like having like another safety on, you know what I mean, that can go ahead and play. I don't know how to explain it though, but he's different. And he'll definitely add another dimension to the table. But getting somebody like Simpson, Henley, Campbell, Overshawn, or whoever that you choose, the only way that's going to work if they go ahead, man, and get real beefy with these D tackles. Except the what? Yeah, everywhere. Man, I only watched about 4 games of him, and I didn't see him everywhere. I seen him rushing. I seen him at safety. I seen him, line up in a slot. I seen him everywhere. And sometimes, man, when you got that film, man, where they ain't highlighting you, you got to hurry up and try to find where he at. Because he all over the place. And when you got another body, see, when you got somebody, man, like Micah, and then you got somebody like Simpson, what they gonna do? Like now you got to account for somebody else that's another that's superior athletically. Now you got to account for somebody else. Now, another thing would be is for the future, what do you consider Damon Clark? Do you consider him your Mike, Will? Because that'll go ahead and explain a lot. Or do you want to go ahead and play positionless linebacker? Because I see some linebackers, man, that can go ahead and contribute to this defense tremendously. And we need somebody, man, that's going to go ahead and play this run game. We need somebody, man, who going to come up and hit. We need somebody who going to come like a missile and that can cover sideline to sideline. Right? You see, Leighton can go sideline to sideline. But one of our biggest knocks on Leighton was you ain't coming up to hit nobody. But when we see Leighton come up to hit somebody, then we like this defense is going to another level. I want somebody who already got that in them, or all I got to do is just coach you up, teach you how to go ahead and attack these blocks, get you in that weight room. Soon as April come, as soon as we draft you, you need to be in that weight room. Our weight room. You know what I mean? Just like they did what I forgot what they said that they had Randy Gregory on. I think they said that he was I think this fool would really eat like a couple burgers a day or something. I forgot I read it, but this fool was eating like a couple burgers every day just to keep that weight on him. If you got to do that to one of these linebackers, then so be it. Oh, you Clemson. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. So you see it. You know it. I like him. And to me, I mean, you could sneak maybe one or two. You could probably sneak maybe one other linebacker in there. But to me, he's the only first round pick that I would comfortably say that, yeah, I want him in the first round and cool. And I believe, man, that's another piece. You see, like I said in my other video, we are in a luxury to be able to take whoever we want to take. It don't matter what position. It don't matter if Bryce Young was there. We in a position to take Bryce Young. You know what I mean? We know he ain't gonna be there, but we this is a position. They always say best player available, but this is truly a best player available draft. And this is one of the perfect drafts to be able to accomplish such feat of your best player available. I like linebacker, but I wouldn't take linebacker. The earliest I would, unless it's Trenton Simpson, the earliest I would take linebacker is day 2. That's the earliest that I would take linebacker. I wouldn't take it. No, I wouldn't take it higher unless Henley, unless you trade back or something like 30 or something, and go pick up Henley and go get other picks. You know, because we could go about this draft in so many ways, right? I'm pretty sure they got trades lined up for players they may already have on a roster, just in case such and such fall to him or something. They got a deal in place, man. So I can't wait for this draft, y'all. I can't wait, right? That's why I'm hustling, because all I got is corners and safeties left, and then I can kind of backtrack into players that I may have missed out of my 10 that may needed some attention, right? That's why I'm trying to hustling and knock out these corners and safeties. I had spent, I devoted probably about 10 hours yesterday, man, to try to catch up. So we did a lot of catching up, but yeah, man, because I still need to go ahead, man, and do that mock draft. But man, when I say this, man, and I'm gonna keep saying this because it's so important. This draft can dang near make or break your Dallas Cowboys for the now and the future. Because evidently, right, even though we brought a lot of players and had a couple additions, your current makeup of the team still is on a make the playoffs and maybe a one and done type of thing. So they need some certain type of additions, man, that's going to help take them over the top. And we know a lot of the times, man, rookies don't really come together, man, and get things going until, halfway through the season, toward the end of the season, right? You might have a Bland situation, right? All of a sudden, Bland come in, man. He been ready, man. He been doing the film room. He been practicing, man, and he just come with that comfort, right? And I can't wait to talk about some of these corners, man, because I've been looking at some of these corners, man. I'm like, oh, you know what I mean? But we're going to go and keep it on linebackers. But, yeah, man, like, it's crazy, man. Second. Yeah, I can agree to that. So I wouldn't be surprised, man, if Overshown will be a late second, right? I got and I'm like in the mix. I think Henley, off of his athletic ability, could end up being a back end first and a second, just off of his ability alone. Because one thing that I've seen with Henley is that with that Washington State, they relied a lot on them linebackers. I was like, dang, man, they really relying on these linebackers to go ahead, man, and do a lot. So he already coming in with high expectations from Washington State, and all he got to do is just run and hit. I think Dallas need to go get a linebacker this draft, whether it be somebody for depth piece or potential starter. I think they need to get another linebacker in the draft because we've been lucky enough, right, to go ahead, man. And hey, I don't know if Cox gonna work or not. Right, it's been a couple years, man. He gonna have to show something this year. If Cox work, cool, right? Cool, because I'm hoping he work. Then you got an LSU linebacker core, right? That's, you know what I mean, that can go ahead, man, and be cheap. But if you don't, you're gonna have to go get one for sure. If you don't got no confidence, man, in the linebackers that you have drafted in the past couple years, other than Clark, you're gonna have to definitely pull that trigger and go grab one. Yep. And that's why I'm like, especially with that Dak money coming out, that's why I'm like, yeah, this draft, man, because somebody might not be paid. Okay, so say for instance, even though off of Trayvon Diggs' performance alone against Chase and Jefferson and Scary Terry should get you paid, right? Should get him paid, right? Say for instance, they like, you know what? We rather go ahead and put our resources and make our front better and go with a secondary like the Chiefs and don't spend that much money. So then something like a Christian Gonzalez is in play. Now you got corners in. Now you got a corner in play because now you got Bland and you got Gilmore, Lewis, and whatever the case may be. I don't know if Deshaun Wright gonna end up being the all in all that piece. You got Israel that can come in. So it ain't like we hurting there. It ain't like we can't get it done there. I would personally pay him. I think they should pay him. If they don't, addressing his linebacker position and addressing his front position is more important than ever. Because if you're just gonna go solid at corner, your back end and your up front gonna have to be right. Like I said, you can look at the Chiefs, right? The Chiefs had a good front, a linebacker in Bolton, Chris Jones, Frank Clark. Then he had some good safeties back there, some good enough safeties back there. So you can go ahead and play Snead at corner, right? You can go ahead and, not saying that they got bums there, but just solid players that's going to get the job done, that's going to compete, right? Because the Eagles had Slay, but evidently Slay wasn't enough to win the ball. So it's how you're going to build this team around. And we know, let's be honest with you, we know, like I said, we've been saying this, man, since the beginning of the season, y'all, this year. We know that this team needs to be strong in pretty much every category. We need to be strong at the wide receiving core. We need to be strong in the running game. You got to have a good front on the O-line, and you got to have a good defense, man. We just know that that's what it is, man, when you got Dak Prescott at quarterback. Like I said, we know Dak Prescott ain't no bum, but we know that he ain't making nobody better in his elite anyway. So when you got that type of it's kind of like the Trent Dilfer situation, man. You got to have elite around him. You got to treat it like Jalen Hurts. You got to have good quality. You got to get him a good line, some good wide receivers, a decent running game, and a good defense. You go out to Jalen Hurts this situation, and you're gonna have to do it in a cheap way. So the only way that you can probably be able to do it in a cheap way to keep it going for the duration of this contract that you got with Dak Prescott is by drafting. Normally, I'm like, man, let's go ahead, man, and go get a player like Jalen Carter or something like that. But this is one that I wouldn't be mad or argue with if we went on ahead, man, and continue to keep our picks. And if anything, maybe add some picks to the equation or whatever the case may be. This is the year that I wouldn't be mad at because I see the future. I see the safety position going to be. I see Curse get ready to be up. I see the free safety. What's his name from the Colts? I see he get ready to be up, right? I see these safeties going to be up. Yeah, we brought Wilson back, but I see these safeties is up. So who gonna step up? The Florida Atlantic? Was the other Marquise Bell? Is he gonna step up? Is Israel a tweener? Is he a corner? What is Israel? Right? Israel did good, man, in coverage though, but that's a small sample size though. But he did it in the bright lights though. So that's why I would have any type of confidence in Israel being able to man it, because when they did put you in there, you did it in the bright lights. You did it when it mattered the most, and you did it well. So that's what will give me confidence in having somebody like Israel back there manning it up. Yeah. $26. Traded back to pick up. Yeah. Yeah, and I like Cox though. I like his coverage ability. Like I said, I had got watching him the previous what was it, a couple years ago. I had got like a Devondre Campbell type of feel toward him. And we know Devondre Campbell, and we know one that your defensive coordinator had Devondre Campbell. And you know that having a linebacker, man, that can go ahead and pick up running backs, man, and go sideline to sideline, man, we know that's a plus, man. He coming from Deion Jones. He coming from Bobby Wagner, right? We know he like a little thumper because he didn't had a couple thumpers. He didn't had KJ Wright, right? So that's why I'm like, man, I hope Cox works out. I do, because that'll go ahead, man, not only come at a cheaper price if when his contract is up, but that'll come and give us a lot more flexibility into how we're going to build this team in the future and how we go about things in the present, right? And it sucks that Kelvin Joseph hasn't became what we wanted him to, because if Kelvin Joseph was who we thought that he could be, and if he wasn't playing around, because it ain't talent with Kelvin, it's him. And if he ever became what we could be, we wouldn't have to go get Gilmore. You could have spent that resources to do something else. But since Kelvin Joseph was playing, and when you got Jerry Jones talking about you need to man up, then boy, you doing something that your focus is off. That means your priorities ain't right. Because we know you could play. You a heck of a special teams ace. I seen you ball before. It ain't like I seen you ball. I seen you, what was it? I think I seen you go against Smith. When he clamping up Devontae Smith from the Eagles, when he clamping him up at Kentucky, LSU seen you as a dog. So it ain't like you ain't got the talent to be that dude. It just gonna come a point of time is you ever gonna develop to be that dude? Because I honestly think that when in all, Kelvin Joseph got to play, if they say if other cornerbacks can play and not be smooth in a transition and have success, then them talking about moving him to safety is blasphemous. Nah, he could play corner, and the you know what I mean. I have him pressing in your face, in your grill, and I think he can do that real well. But you got to get your focus, man. You talking about boss man, fat man? Forget your rap career, man. You could rap on the side, man. You could rap now. But when we out here, man, focusing on a mission, bro, you gonna have to go ahead, instead of going to the studio, homie. Instead of you out here, man, trying to get on your hustle and flow, man, you need to hustle and flow your tail up in that playbook, man. Get up in that film room, man. Because you got it. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I definitely seen that his mind wasn't right. I could tell that his mind wasn't right in that preseason. You know, thinking that he probably get ready to lose everything that he'll work for into not coming. But you know what I'm saying? And I think that you know, he was dealing with a little bit more than what was discussed, you know, because if you're dealing with that and you dealing with hood matters, now the hood on your line. Now the hood on your line. So you know that peer pressure in itself, you know that, you know what I mean, when he dealing with all that, you know, that's you know what I mean? Who knows what he had to deal with on that? So that probably was added pressure on his mind. That was probably some more stuff that he had to deal with. You know, that's some stuff that ain't gonna be talked about, but that's probably the reality of the situation, especially with who he surrounded himself by at that particular incident. So, you know, but all in all, man, they need to get some get right though, man. They need to get some get right. Hey, man, this draft, hey, this thing coming, man, and it's coming quick. It is coming quick, and this is gonna be so big. Hey, I'm telling y'all, we gonna know about the future of these Cowboys, man. We gonna know about the future of these Cowboys real soon, right? I don't think it's too late to get a pick from that franchise and Tony Pollard. What is it? What would it be? A third round pick or something? A third, man. I'll take a third round for Tony. I'll take that. Or is it a second? Either way, I would take that. I would take that in a heartbeat, especially with some of these debt pieces in mind and what you can do with that. I would take that. And get off the books on that running back, man. I just don't get it. I mean, I know I guess they try to go ahead and save face and say, because they probably knew all along that they was going to get rid of Zeke. They probably knew all along that was going to happen. And they probably wanted some assurance. But hey, bro, it is what it is, man, on that. I'm not paying no running back, man, 10 mil, man. I just ain't. When I'm seeing all these other running backs getting paid less, you even see rumors of now the Bengals got to go ahead and mess around and prepare for maybe Joe Mixon not being in the fold. The Titans thinking about their future and getting rid of Derrick Henry, right? Dalvin Cook, Ben and Trey, all these good running backs, right? That probably is going to command more than 10 mil. The team don't want to pay it because they know the shelf life of these running backs. And I think if you go ahead and make a nice little trade and make a draft, and then go ahead and have the running backs that you got at third compete, like Ronald Jones, you telling me that Ronald Jones at best can't be a third running back? I find that hard to believe that he couldn't be. Because Ronald Jones coming out, what was it, of SC, he had some talent. Yeah, he been bouncing around though, but you get a running back in a good situation, man. Look at Alfred Morris. You telling me that he ain't got more talent than Alfred Morris? You get Alfred Morris in a good situation, Alfred Morris become a baller. But you get him out of that, he just a cool little solid running back. And you telling me that in the right situation with a good offensive line, that Ronald Jones can't come on here, man, and have some type of production at your third running back? I'm just saying, man. I knew you watched Porter against Charlie Jones. Oh, yeah. I did Charlie Jones with the wide receiver. I like Charlie. Charlie, let me give you an example. Charlie would be James Jones, the Mike McCarthy James Jones. Charlie would be James Jones. Yes, Charlie will be James. What we got going on right now, this will be a perfect position for Charlie. I like Charlie, though. I'm not going to lie and say I didn't. He ain't no number one wide receiver. But Charlie had, see, one thing I've seen, this is why I like Charlie. Because we know that pretty much all they had was Charlie Jones. Charlie Jones was heavily relied upon. Quarterback wasn't the best, and he still made plays. Charlie Jones went up against an NFL corner who was maybe a first-round pick, who's regarded as a pretty good corner. He definitely a top 50, a top 20, maybe what, a top 25 type of player, maybe. He was giving him work Oh my God, I can't wait to talk about it. Hey, Charlie was giving him work. Oh, Charlie had him beat for a tug, but he just wasn't that fast. Charlie was, oh man, I wish I could find a way to clip some of that stuff. Let me see if I can figure out how to clip some of that stuff. Charlie was giving that man work. I'll watch it and just delete the live or something. And just delete the live or something. Charlie was giving that man work. I see what happens is I don't think athletic wide receivers who fast and can come out of, I don't think they give him problems, Porter. I think what will give him problems because of Porter is not smooth in his transition and his change of direction is route runners will give him problems. I'm seeing Charlie to like, oh, I'm telling you, Charlie to hit him with that boom, 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 release on the outside, had him grabbing. I'm like, oh, Charlie working. Cause that's the first game. Cause you know me, I'm like, that's the first game. I'm like, oh, Joey went against Charlie. Cause I watched that game, but I wasn't really checking for Porter. I was checking for Charlie. But now I'm looking at it in another direction. Now I'm looking at Porter, and I'm looking at Charlie like the first few reps. Like Porter was on him the first few reps of the game. Charlie was working him. And then he left and went on somebody else. And then it came back second quarter. Charlie had him beat, but the throw was inaccurate, and he just probably wasn't fast enough to track. Because if Charlie was faster, you might got to consider that man. If Charlie was faster, you might have to say he would be your top 3 wide receiver. And he couldn't probably argue with him being the best. But his speed is going to limit him a lot. But Charlie is James Jones. If I had to give you, that's why I'm like, I would not be surprised if the Dallas Cowboys pulled that trigger. Charlie is James Jones. When I think about Charlie, I think of James Jones. And I think he will, and we always said we need that route runner. And if you got wide receivers like CD and Gallup in the Cooks, there's a time and place for Charlie Jones. You don't need Charlie Jones 50, 60 snaps. You just need it for a good 25. You telling me Charlie in 25 snaps, maybe 30 snaps, can't do work? Man, man. Oh yeah, facts. Yeah, hey, I was like, hey, and the cool thing about it is I'm laying down, man, watching. That had me sit up. I seen Charlie work. I'm like, oh, I had to sit up. I was like, hold up. Man, I had to sit up. I was like, oh, Charlie working this man. Charlie working this man. I ain't gonna lie, I wasn't expecting that. I'm thinking, okay, Porter come in. Porter girl ain't clamp him up, man. He ain't fast. You know what I mean? He may be a little quick, but he ain't fast. I think it's about to be easy money for Porter. No. Hey, that game should improve Charlie Jones' stock tremendously. That game alone. I was trying to find when I was watching Gonzalez, I was trying to find him see if he was going at it with Addison. Because that'll tell me a lot too, right there. That'll tell me a whole lot. With Gonzalez versus Addison from USC, that'll tell me a whole lot about each and every one of them. But Gonzalez smooth though. He's smooth. After this, I'm gonna work on some more corners though, but because I ain't doing that today, but just shooting content and relaxing. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish that. But that would tell me a lot. I need to maybe do better and see if I can maybe find that game because that'll tell me a lot. Because I like watching. But one thing I did see though, Porter does compete. Porter does go against the best. I wish he would have followed Charlie, especially toward the end of the game. I wish he would have followed him. I seen Porter go against Harrison. I seen the matchup when he went against Conley, right? He did better with Conley than he did with Charlie because Conley a good wide receiver though, but he wasn't gonna really challenge him as a route runner all the way like Charlie would. Not saying that he was a bad one, but but Conley, but Conley was Conley gave him some work too though. Conley was hitting him on a couple comeback routes. I'm not saying Porter is a bum, but I think Porter might be scheme dependent early on. And a lot and Porter and I Porter might be off his daddy name some too. I might have to be real. He might be off his daddy name some too. He might be off of Joey Porter, man, Pittsburgh. He might be off his daddy name a little bit. Because if his name was anybody else, but if he wasn't Joey Porter's son, I don't think he'd be maybe as high as. I mean, I ain't watched other corners though, so let me not go ahead and rush to other conclusions though. But right now, I only watched 2 corners, and he's number 2 right now. So I think the next one I'm watching is the Illinois dude. But yeah, man, it was some stuff, man. Yeah. Yeah, you said it. Overrated. You said it. Hey, you said it. You said it, man. But here's my thing though. If he's like top 3, how good is these other corners? If he's top 3, how good is these other corners? That's why I'm so interested in watching these corners. Because if he's top 3, is the cornerback position just solid? Not that, is there a whole bunch of number 2s? Now, Gonzalez can be a number 1. I want to see Gonzalez work on tracking the football better. He got to work on because hopefully he don't try to Byron Jones it and be real clampish, but don't get no picks. I want to see him track the ball better. I want to see him look back and look for that football better, man. Yeah, man. But I didn't see too much work with Harrison though, but if Charlie Jones and Conley did that to you, I know Harrison, man, on the full game. I know Harrison would have gave that boy the business. I know he would have gave that boy the business, man. So, hey, I ain't gonna lie, I'm kind of excited, man, to watch these corners, man. I'm kind of excited to watch these corners because I'm like, oh. But we gonna see, man. Draft up, draft coming. We getting ready, getting to work, man. I'm gonna try to knock these corners out as quickly as possible. Hopefully, I can make a good dent in it today. Man, we working, man. And then after that, if I can knock out these corners and safeties, maybe because I know we kind of skipped over the quarterbacks. I could probably touch on some of these quarterbacks, and then work on some miscellaneous type of things. Like I know I didn't touch Uzoma from Kansas State. I know I probably need to touch him up some and check him out. And there's some other players, man, that and I know some of these players that's being ranked higher is not gonna go higher. It's like, it came out that Zay Flowers may be number 1 on people's boards. I mean, I'm not totally against that, but he ain't number 1 on my board. But I'm not totally against that. I like Addison better. And I only had Johnston there because of his size speed ratio. And I know that he can develop with some right coaching. And if you're able to get him to even be remotely close to a DK Metcalf, man, then you got you a good player there. But for sure, you're going to use that speed. I don't think he had Kevin White, though, because I seen you make plays in big-time games. So Kevin White didn't do that. I seen Kevin White get clamped up by that one TCU corner that came out that wasn't even all that. I think he was like a 7th-round pick or something. Clamped him up. When I seen that, I said, bro, Kevin White is trash. And what do you know? Kevin White ended up being trash. You know, see, they can talk about, oh, he's a bust. No, they didn't do their homework. Because that's my question. I'm looking at it like this. You can sometimes they gotta ask themselves questions. Why is Kevin White being locked up by somebody who is not a top tier player? And he's supposed to be my 1st-round pick. That should be food. And then I'm looking at Joey Porter. How is you one of the best corners out here and you letting Charlie Jones give you work? Now, I'm not saying Charlie Jones a bum, but let's be honest with you. A player of Joey Porter, the way he's being hyped up, somebody like Charlie Jones should be clamped. Let's be honest with it. It should be clamped. Do you think Charlie Jones would have did that against Gonzalez? Nah, Gonzalez would have clamped Charlie Jones. So that's what I'm looking at. I'm like, so people ain't look. Hey, let's be honest with you. People ain't looking at the film. They just looking at some highlights. They not looking at the film because the film goes. If some of these scouts looking at the film, that's what I want to know. If somebody, see, that's why I don't pay attention to the combine. That's why I kind of started backing up from the combine because a combine will get you hyped on the player, man, that they tape suck. But because he had a good combine, now he gonna get drafted higher. No, I'm looking at the tape. I don't care if he ran a 4.340. If you ran a 4.340, but your tape says you run a 4.7, then something ain't adding up. I can train to run a faster 40, but that tape don't lie. The tape never lies. The tape will show you if he a dog or not. And that's why I look at other players, they talk about, oh, he ain't got the physical characteristics. Just like Pace. Okay, but Pace, his tape says production. Now, I didn't get to watch the full amount of games because I was limited on my time, but just looking at what I've seen a couple games, I've seen production. I've seen what a linebacker is supposed to do. Yeah, he may not be no Trenton Simpson or no Henley. That's a good linebacker, right? It's the same thing, man, with Charlie. The production there. Every time I seen that Purdue needed to play, they was going to Charlie Jones, and he came up ready, and he came up and always made a play pretty much. Charlie Jones has to work harder to get open. He has to work harder to get open because he has physical limitations. So that what makes it even more impressive that he's using his effective short area quickness in his route running to go ahead and do work on supposedly top prospects. That's good to me. And that's day 3. I'm looking at Charlie. Like, what's happening? Day 3, I'm looking at Charlie. Shit. Or maybe as early as the 3rd round. Who knows? Maybe. All depends. But for sure, day 3, I'm looking at Charlie. Like, what's going on? I like Weatherspoon most, thinking Gonzalez. Okay, because Weatherspoon next. I'm actually watching him after I get off here. I'm watching the Weatherspoon. He the first one up. Yeah. So Weatherspoon and Gonzalez, okay. I mean, Porter in the 2nd round, can't argue with that. I can't argue with Porter in the 2nd round because he does have rerouting capabilities. You know, he does have some physicality to it. He's a soft tackler, though, but a lot of these corners are soft tacklers, though. So, you know, I don't really knock them against. As long as you're good enough and can make the tackle when necessary, then that's cool with me, right? But if I get a good hitter and a good cover player, man, it makes you coveted. But I understand. Yeah, but we're going to check that out, though, man. But anywho, man, I'm about to get up out here, man. Give me something to eat and go look at these cornerbacks, catch up on these cornerbacks, man, and seeing what they got for me, man. See if there's any going to be some more controversial takes coming on, man, because I seen A lot of people didn't really like my Joey Porter analysis, man. How dare you? Joey Porter is good. He's the best. No. So I know I'm gonna get a lot of heat for that, man. But it is what it is, man. I'm just here to go ahead and see it. How I tell you how I see it. But anywho, man, y'all have a good one, man. And till next time, y'all, we up out of here, man. Stay safe, stay blessed.